Here's a piece of career advice that most people won't tell you. Promotions aren't reward decisions. They are risk decisions. Most people think that promotions are rewards, like a prize for working harder, like a prize for working the hardest, or staying the longest, or being the most loyal. But supervisors aren't handing out trophies. They're managing risk. Because you know what? Every time a boss promotes someone, they're putting their reputation on the line. If the person succeeds, great decision. If the person struggles, the decision lands right back on their desk. So when supervisors discuss promotions behind closed doors, the conversation is usually very different than people expect. They're not asking who worked the hardest. They're not saying who deserved this the most. They're asking something so much simpler. If I move this person up, will my life get easier or harder? That's the real calculation. And let me give you a real world example that most people don't think about. If you're the person who holds everything together, the workhorse, the one everyone relies on, the one who fixes the problems, carries the workloads, and keeps things moving along, you might think that makes you the obvious choice for a promotion, but sometimes it actually creates the opposite problem. Because now you have your boss thinking, if I move this person, who will replace them? And suddenly, promoting you creates a new headache. By promoting you, they lose the person that's keeping everything running smoothly, which means they have to replace you, train someone new, and hope the whole system doesn't fall apart. But on the other hand, if promoting you makes your boss's life easier, if they believe you'll handle problems independently, if they trust that you won't create new issues, if they know the team will run smoothly under you, then suddenly promoting you seems like the smart decision. A low risk decision. A low risk decision. Your boss is also scanning for potential landmines. Things like, can this person handle conflict? Will they represent the team well? Will they escalate every problem upward or solve things themselves? Because every promotion decision comes with a hidden question. Is this going to make my life easier or harder? Which leads to something that most people don't even realize. Your boss is not asking who deserves this. They're asking who is the safest move. And here's why the advice that people give you is backwards. Everyone says, don't play it safe when going for a promotion. But promotions, they go to the safest bet in the room. Your boss isn't trying to make an inspirational decision. They are actually trying to avoid making a regrettable one. They're asking themselves, who won't make me regret this decision 6 months from now? So think of it like this. Promotions are basically like an insurance policy for your boss. They're not asking themselves who deserves this role. They're asking who is least likely to blow up in my face. And once you understand that, promotion decisions, they start making more sense. Because you know what? The people who move up the fastest aren't always the hardest workers. They're the people that feel like the safest move. In this video, I'm going to show you the hidden filter that supervisors use when deciding who gets promoted. And once you understand this, promotions stop feeling random. My name is Marie, and I am a lieutenant and leadership coach who has sat on thousands of interview and promotional boards. And I help women in predominantly male industries position themselves as the obvious choice for a promotion. When leaders discuss promotions behind closed doors, they're evaluating one thing: risk. Because promoting someone can either make their life easier or create a massive headache. And most bosses, they've been burned before. They've promoted someone who looked great on paper, was super confident in an interview. But the moment they stepped into leadership, the team struggled. Problems multiplied. And suddenly, the supervisor that made that decision had to own it. So I've seen this happen before. This guy I worked with, we'll call him Mark. On paper, he looked like the perfect promotion. Military leadership experience, he was extremely confident. And you know what? He knew leadership theories inside and out. If you listen to him talk about leadership, you'd probably think, yeah, this guy is ready. So he got promoted, and you know what? Pretty quickly, things went sideways. Situations that required judgment or common sense became problems. And you know what? The complaints started rolling in. Citizen complaints, HR complaints, internal complaints. And you know what? It wasn't just one or two. It became a pattern with this guy. And here's the part that people outside of leadership don't always see. Every single one of those issues he created landed on the desk of the person who promoted him. So now that supervisor, he has to manage fallout, fix problems, and explain decisions. And you know what? Once a leader experiences something like that once, they remember it. So the next time promotion decisions happen behind closed doors, the conversation sounds different. So they're not just asking who deserves this, they're asking who is the safest move. Because promotions are not reward decisions, they're risk decisions. So subconsciously, your boss, they're thinking, will this person reduce problems or create more of them? Will they require more supervision or will they remove it? Will they stabilize the team or add more stress to it? Will they solve issues independently or escalate everything upward? And I think, will they come to me with solutions or will they come to me with problems? And if something goes wrong, will they own it or will they deflect it? And here's the part that most high performers misunderstand. Your boss, they're not trying to make a bold decision. They're trying to make a defensible decision, a choice that makes them look smart, a decision that if someone questions them later, they can easily justify it, which means they tend to promote the person who already feels predictable, the person who already operates at the next level, the person that they can imagine saying in a meeting, promoting her was the obvious choice. And you know what? I've seen that happen too. There was another employee, we'll call her Emily. Emily wasn't loud. She didn't spend time talking about leadership or trying to prove that she was the smartest person in the room. But you know what? She did something that was much more important. She made everyone's job easier. Coworkers ran to her when they had a problem. And you know what? If someone ran into a problem, guess who helped solve it? Emily. And when conflict came her way, she handled it calmly instead of escalating. She was decisive and made decisions. And she just quietly made things run smoother. So now a promotion opened up, and Emily, she was one of the junior people applying for that promotion. And there were other candidates 20 plus years on the job. When she got the promotion, people were shocked. And some were upset. They thought, how does someone so young get the job over other people with so much experience? But you know what? Behind closed doors, supervisors were saying something very different. They were saying, you know what? Honestly, she's already doing the job. And more importantly, they worried less about her than they did the other candidates. They could picture promoting her and everything running smoothly. No drama, no surprises, no extra problems, which made the decision easy. Because if promoting you makes your boss's job easier, you move. Because if promoting you makes your boss's job easier, you move up. But if promoting you introduces uncertainty, if they're unsure how you'll handle pressure, unsure how you'll manage conflict, unsure how you'll represent the team, then even if you're talented, you stall. And it's not because you're incapable. It's because in leadership rooms, certainty beats potential every single time. And the people who move up the fastest aren't necessarily the most confident. They're the ones who have already shown you can trust me with bigger problems. And here's the mistake that most high-performing women make. They try to prove how capable they are. But capability isn't a decision filter. In the next video, I'll show you 3 specific risks that bosses evaluate before promoting someone. And you know what? Once you see these, you can start positioning yourself as the safest move in the room.